Kagurabachi chapter 83 was beautiful. Between the big fighting spreads and the stunning use of snow and water, this chapter was once again peak 10 out of 10. Gotozono has done it again. There was nothing in this chapter that elicited my usual, over-the-top, very excitable reactions. You know how I am. If you've been here before, I'm the Kagurabachi Girl YouTube, but if you haven't been, you don't know how I am. That's how I usually am. But there was none of that this chapter, but not everything has to be some insanely crazy hype moment. Sometimes it's nice to just have some exposition, mainly about one particular thing. We had one main focus point this chapter. Enten was our main focus, but then obviously in association was Chihiro and the other sword bearers, and specifically Kunishige, of course, was relevant. But it was nice to just have a chapter calmer, I guess. Is that the right word? Because they were fighting like madmen. They were going ham. So it feels weird to say it's calmer, but it was very grand instead of fast-paced, tight. It really had room to breathe. And I think that's a good change of pace, even though I do really like those really jam-packed crazy chapters. This was definitely a good change of pace for sure. And I say all the time, this would be so cool animated. But with all of the grand shots and the dynamic fighting in this chapter, that's gonna be so cool when it gets animated eventually. Oh my gosh. This chapter is so cinematic, I feel like. The emotion I feel strongest towards this chapter is just wow, it's beautiful. This chapter was beautiful to me. And it's not just because Shiba greeted us on page 1. Nice to see him back, though, of course. We got to see a glimpse of the conversation that was mentioned during chapter 78, so that's really exciting. And I love their whole little conversation it feels weird to say build up because it's literally the second page of the chapter, but that whole conversation leads very nicely into then why did he give me this? Peak. I was gagged. At this point, I knew this chapter was gonna be a banger with a start like that before the chapter title reveal of The Enten. Peak. Same goes for, there's a saying from the Seitai War that's fitting. When blackbirds flock, death is nigh. It's obvious where that saying came from. Peak. Need I say more? Oh. And my mom is a big bird person, which in turn has turned me into a bird enjoyer. So I want to appreciate how well drawn this crow is. And then this panel is one of those panels that I think would go crazy with an anime. With the line specifically, what on earth do you want to show me? He is talking down to Chihiro so bad. Literally, there's an elevation difference. He's looking down on him. That feels like such a slap in the face. What could you possibly show me to change my mind? And paired with good voice acting, I think that would hit like crack. Sorry. Hey, Editor Callie here. You don't snort crack, you idiot. And same with the whole, a slap in the face right after that. The pout Chihiro has when Samura calls Sojo puny is so funny. Sojo gave Chihiro a hard time. He literally lost an arm fighting him. So his offense at this is, so good. I love it. In the panel on the top right of page 7, the effect coming off of his eyes and the nose and even the jacket collar, what? And the bubbles, of course, I love the bubbles. That is the sleeper hit panel of this chapter, I fear. I get that the big fighting spreads are cool and stuff, and the use of lines and the hair to get speed across and all that. So sick. I've talked about that before. But, man, I looked at this panel for, a whole minute when I was reading. I was, starstruck. And, like I said, of course, the fighting looks super cool. But, there isn't really much I can say other than, wow, that looks cool. So the fighting's cool, not much to touch on there, really. I think the panels speak for themselves. The roof breaking, though, I love it. That's wonderful. And then the sinking into the water, Oh my gosh. And then with the clank of the sword forging, like, nah, it's peak. I'm overwhelmed by the amount of peak going on here today. An excess amount of peak. I'm not sure what we're gonna do with all of it. Hokuzono does a really good job utilizing the whole flashback enhances the present moment thing. That's what I'm gonna call it. Because an example of this, like the moment that made me and a lot of other people fall in love with Kagurabachi was the keep a cool head moment in chapter 14, which is an early example of this flashback thing I'm talking about, where like a flashback and a present moment are like coexisting, and like I said, it like enhances the present even though they happened at two different times. Hokuzono does that so well. Like to me, that is like, he defined that. Like that is his thing now. I know like other things have done that before, but like I think he does it best, genuinely. Like it's so good. Like this chapter, as well as last did that too, was a very good use of flashbacks coexisting with the present. Especially this chapter was a bit closer to the whole like keep a cool head thing like I was talking about. Because one, Kunishige's influence and relevance in both moments. And two, it is more simple than something like last chapter, for example, where we're going back and forth of like flashback and a flashback, present, but different perspective, like all over the place. This was just very simple, like Chihiro and Shiba to Chihiro and Samura. Well, and Kunishige's relevance as well. But way less people involved, way more focused. I like both examples, obviously, but I really do like the simplicity of that in this specific moment. I think really kind of like brings things down to like a real level. It is simple yet effective of making us feel with Chihiro. Especially when we get this panel of Chihiro with his shiny eyes and the emotion on his face. That you were his guiding light. Shoot me. I can't do it. Oh, God. That panel I also looked at for 40 million years. It's so cute. Chihiro. Hokuzono, once again, has gotten so good at drawing emotions, I think. He's really nailed it. And this is a great example of that. It's so... It really gets across what he is feeling in that moment. And then, of course, we get the fish swimming closer and closer to him. Beautiful, once again. And then, of course, Enten appearing in his hand instead of the fish that was right near it. Like, wow. And also, though, he has got to be freezing. He is soaked, and it is snowing. Someone needs to get Chihiro a heating pad and a nice blankie and some hot cocoa. So, with Enten appearing in his hand instead of the fish, people were taught... Well, obviously, he wasn't going to pick up a fucking fish. But that has to do with, like, teleporting, you know what I mean? Because the sword was next to Samura and then it ended up in his hand. People were talking about he used Aka, and then I saw some people saying like other things as well. I skipped past the exposition dump to talk about the visuals first, especially since this chapter didn't really tell us much that we didn't know before about the swords themselves. We knew that the swords were shaped by who used them, but it is crazy to me that the powers specifically weren't intended, because we knew that the sword was shaped by the user, but I didn't know the powers specifically were never a thing. The sword only had an intention of like to kill and like protect or whatever it was. So interesting that the powers of each sword were shaped by their master. And then people predicted a few chapters ago the whole Enten was made to destroy the enchanted blades thing, so that wasn't really too much of a shock, but it was still really cool to see that actually unfold and be like, oh shit, like people were right, like that's awesome. You know what I mean? It hits. It's good. I liked that. And Chihiro's declaration to Samura that he's going to use the Enten to destroy the Shinuchi is lovely. Mwah. I love it so much. And if this feels like I'm undercutting any of the sword information we learned at all during this chapter, I'm just a girl. Okay. I'll be honest, I'm not in it for the swords. I'm in it for the character stuff, personally. I mean, you can be there for both, obviously. Like, I still like the swords and all of the things, but that's not really what, like, resonates with me the most, you know what I mean? So I know a lot of people really like this chapter because it was like we were getting information about that specifically. I liked it because to me I was just like, oh man, Chihiro, you're so fucking cool, you know? Like, so the swords I care like a little less about, even though like I'm saying like I'm in it for the characters, I'm in it for the story. Obviously the swords are literally an integral part of both the characters and the story. So like, trust me, this isn't me saying like, fuck the swords, I don't care, you know what I mean? Because like obviously I have to care. But like sometimes the way y'all talk about the swords makes me feel like those people that feel really dumb when they're watching Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, you know how it's literally a joke that it's like, yeah, I watched JJK, couldn't tell you what a simple domain is, you know what I mean? Like, or like curse technique, all the things. Like, I can tell you what a domain expansion is, okay? But some of the ways you guys talk about these swords and their different abilities make me really confused. Because I think I understand it, but I don't know if you guys overcomplicate things sometimes, or like, I just read something that's more theory than like what actually is like fact, and then like it boggles my brain a little bit. But like, you guys confuse me, so I'm kind of gonna stay away from the sword talk, I'm not gonna lie. I don't have anything interesting to say about the swords that I could word better than a dude bro. Like, to be honest. I'll stay in my lane. Staying in my lane, I'm gonna talk about Chihiro and his character growth, because he has grown so much. At the beginning, he is like cold and driven by his revenge mission. He wakes up every day with fresh hatred, you know? And this was all to get his father's blades back. Watching him change as his goal changes is absolutely wonderful. And I guess a true goal now is gather the swords, but also we're gonna destroy the Shinuchi, so it's no longer, oh, like the Rakazayuchi, we were stealing the Shinuchi back because it's his dad's, and now, fuck the Shinuchi, we're destroying that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Chihiro has learned so much about the blades, and that there's so much more to them than just that his dad forged them and heroes wielded them in a war. We are so far past that perspective from him. And he heard about the destruction that they can cause when he was younger and how they have to be responsible for the lives their swords take, but I don't think he fully comprehended that until he saw these blades in action being used on normal people by like Sojo or Kiora at the auction. Specifically seeing the Shinuchi in action really showed a change in Chihiro's perspective. He was more eager to learn the truth of what really happened because he felt like he was missing information, which of course he was. But just watching him grow and adapt like that has been so lovely, and this chapter feels like a reward for watching his whole journey throughout the story so far. It's just like, I love Chihiro so much. He's my little guy. Like, I love him so much. I love Chihiro. That's my pro tag, baby. I say that like every time, but like it's true. Like watching him develop, it literally feels like Mamma Mia. It's like slipping through my fingers all the time. The more I wrote my notes for this chapter, the more I liked it. Not that I didn't like it before, but after getting to like sit on it, write about it, talk about it, that really makes me like think about the chapter. And I mean, even though the chapter literally came out a few hours ago as of recording this, I like it so much more now, just getting to like sit with it a little bit. Mwah! Beautiful. I love it. Yeah, this chapter was definitely a strong one. Comment what you think about this chapter. I think it was a gem. Once again, a 10 out of 10. We usually get those, but like, come on, with a title like this one with that opening sequence to it, like, you knew it was gonna hit different. Like this video as well, just like I liked this chapter and you like Kagurabachi, and if you like Kagurabachi, which you definitely do if you're watching this video, then you should also subscribe. I'm the Kagurabachi girl of YouTube. I have chapter videos whenever a new chapter comes out, except next week. There will be a chapter that comes out, however, you will not get a chapter video from me because I will be up to things. However, I do have a special video planned, and it is scheduled already, actually. It is a Kagurabachi video about one of my favorite characters, which is pretty fun. I had a lot of fun with it. Make some guesses down in the comments if you want to. If you've been here before, you know who I like. I like so many people. Though I will be away for 2 episodes in a row, I still implore you to check out the podcast that I've been doing some chatting on lately, the Kaminabi headquarters. We have a lot of fun over there. Thank you so much for watching this video. I've got a special video for you next week, still Kagurabachi related, and then after that I'll have a special edition video for chapter 84 and 85 combined. So please stay tuned to that. Thank you so much for watching this one. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Char Nation, do not falter. She'll come back one day. And Shiba's really hot, and he was in this chapter. And Samura's a dilf. Okay, bye.